pledge allegiance. The Township Board of Supervisors meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. on March 4th, 2015 at the New Buffalo Fire Hall by Chairman Carl Radinsky. A motion was made to approve the minutes as read. Gutow, Smith, Gall, motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Frank House asked why the solicitor told the board they had to adopt the amendments to the driveway ordinance. Supervisor Gutow stated it was a voluntary action by the board and the solicitor advised on the process of adopting the amendments to the ordinance. Frank asked why money was being spent on the amendments if a whole new driveway ordinance is a few months away from being adopted. Supervisor Gutow stated the amendments clarify the issues that are being brought up by residents currently. John Heffenfinger asked who wrote the proposed amendments to the ordinance. Supervisor Gutow stated it was a combination between her, the engineer, the solicitor, as well as issues that were discussed at the Planning Commission and public input, and the idea expressed by some that motions do not supersede an ordinance. Zoning officer, 1 permit was issued. Violation letters have been issued to Richard Kozik for no permit for a structure and to Carol Holler for the house that was involved in a fire and is being rebuilt without a permit. Ambrose Quigley stated he believed that fees are waived for the rebuilding of a structure after a fire and that there is a resolution or ordinance stipulating this. Supervisor Radinsky stated that a new owner has bought the property, so the fees will have to be paid. Fire company, the monthly financial report was presented. Old business, Stas Asaudo, the secretary needs to incorporate the engineer's revisions into the document. Audit 2013, the Rainiers have declined to perform due to family issues. Supervisor Radinsky asked if anyone knew of 2 people who would be willing to do. Russell Klausler may have a relative who would volunteer. Act 537, Lucas Parks will be setting up a meeting with DEP and the committee members and will let the secretary know when. There is an opportunity for a grant in June. Website postings. Supervisor Gutow has spoken with Ken Snyder Consulting Company. He comes highly recommended. He charges $60 per hour and thought it would take approximately an hour and a half to train the secretary. Secretary Conjoli will contact him. A motion was made to approve Joanna Johnston as the deputy tax collector. Gutow, Radinsky, motion carried unanimously. New business, a motion was made to hold a special meeting to adopt the driveway ordinance on March 18, 2015 at 9 a.m. Gutow, Radinsky, motion carried unanimously. The Luke Step driveway local agency hearing will be held March 9, 2015 at 9 a.m. at the New Buffalo Fire Hall. The April board meeting will be held Tuesday, April 7, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. Brian Rice Snyder asked how much was budgeted for spring cleanup. The amount is $3,500. He questioned why, if the township had a deficit of $33,500 for last year and a proposed deficit of $2,000 for this year, and possibly having to hire a CPA, can the township afford these deficits? Several residents in the audience voiced their agreement for holding the event. A motion was made to hold Spring Cleanup Day on May 16, 2015 from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Gutow, Radinsky, motion carried unanimously. A motion was made to contact the solicitor to prepare an ordinance to establish the supervisor's pay. Radinsky, Gutow, motion carried unanimously. A motion was made to pay $80 towards tax collector Teresa Carroll certification. Radinsky, Smith, Gall, motion carried unanimously. Roadmaster, 300 tons of salt has been ordered for 2015-2016 season. Planning Commission, there was nothing to report. A motion was made to pay the bills and any bills that come due before the next meeting. Smith, Gall, Gutow, motion carried unanimously. A motion was made to adjourn the meeting. Smith, Gall, Gutow, motion carried unanimously. I need a motion to approve the minutes as read.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second.
Excuse me, Nancy,
Yes.
Linda Heffenfinger, the ones that approved the cleanup day, did you say there was many that approved it?
Several residents in the audience voiced their agreement for
We
holding
only
the
had
event.
one.
Well, it's
One that said he wanted it.
There was one?
Yes.
I heard a couple, it's hard to hear.
No, there was one.
We'll read the March 18th minutes. The Watts Township Board of Supervisors special meeting was called to order at 9 a.m. on March 18, 2015 by Chairman Korodinsky. A motion was made to adopt Ordinance 2 of 2015, amending Section 6 of the Watts Township 2010 Driveway Ordinance. Rudinsky, Gutau, motion carried. Brian Rice Snyder read a letter to the board formally filing a protest against the passage of the amendment. A motion was made to have the township send out a letter to the residents informing them of the driveway ordinance changes as well as the pertinent information regarding the township cleanup day. Rudinsky, Gutau, motion carried. A motion was made to adjourn the meeting. Rudinsky, Gutau, motion carried.
Nancy, Jake Reichsteiner, amendment to that, no public comment was allowed at that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was prior. Public comment needs to be prior to a motion made or any business before a meeting. On the March 18th meeting, there was no public comment. I specifically requested public comment, and that's a Sunshine Act violation.
Excuse me, I recently, just in the last half an hour, in fact, listened to the minutes from that meeting, and I think the minutes should reflect exactly what took place, which was Brian Reisner requested to read a letter into the public comment, and Chairman Rudinsky announced, and I'll quote, "We don't have no public comment section." I think that should be added to your minutes. That's exactly what took place, and that's at the beginning of the meeting.
I wasn't there, I'm not making a motion.
Well,
Pat, may I suggest that you defer the approval of those minutes since
Carl
Pat was not there?
okay.
Did you approve the other minutes?
Yes.
Okay, I would defer the approval of those minutes till next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, so we'll just postpone it. Okay. But the first set was approved. Okay.
May we ask that the recording be reviewed and determine whether that's appropriate to play in the meantime?
At this point, I think you've addressed it.
Next on the agenda. Public comment. We have a gentleman from Burgett and Associates. What's your name, please?
Ben Kirk, K-I-R-K, with the Berry and Terry Deven subdivision plan.
By the way, we are recording this, just so that's on.
We were on Amity Road and Notch Road. You guys are familiar with the area there. We're proposing a lot off of there. Proposed lot 3. It's going to be 17.682 acres off of the farm. We had it in front of the planning commission. They had some issues with the driveway. We since then had a meeting out at site to resolve those issues. And there's a one-way in, one-way out driveway now. If you look at sheet 2, it shows that on there. Let's label in and out. In and out. The waiver stays on there for the driveway because one driveway will still be non-conforming because you can't go in and out of that driveway. So we're still asking for a waiver of site distance because the one doesn't meet it. What happens is the out driveway, you get site distance both ways, but when you're coming up, bearing straight here, up from the south to turn into the driveway, you can't see over the knob to turn in, so which is why we need the other driveway. The only other comment we had from planning commission was 30-foot dedicated right-of-way line. That was 25 before, and it's now addressed on the plan. That's the only thing that's outstanding from the planning commission. Do you want to say any other questions?
My thoughts on this are, as you know, the way the planning commission meets, and, excuse me, take care of this right now. The way it works is the planning commission tends to work, meet after the township meeting. Usually we have a meeting last week before the township meeting,
Yeah.
but a suggestion was made, and I think I'm going to follow that through. And that is, I'm not sure about the waiver per se yet. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't talked to Jerry about that part of it. But what I want to do is make a motion that this plan be conditionally approved, but it's going to also have to be approved by, or have the PC look at it tomorrow.
Yep,
Just put their blessing on it.
Yep, that was
And
the
if-
plan.
Yeah, and if they say no problem, they haven't seen a problem with it, then at least you won't have to wait a whole other month until our next township meeting. And then we can go, they'll sign it at the planning commission meeting tomorrow night, because it's tomorrow night.
Yep.
And then, we can sign off on it. But at least that's way, as long as they're approving of it, and there's not a problem with them, with what you've addressed and how you've met with each other, with Jerry and and everybody, and
Yeah.
everyone's okay with it, then I don't see a problem with it. But I'm making a motion that way it's in the minutes, that we're making a motion for that as long as the PC.
Yeah, yep, that's what we're planning on
Okay,
doing.
so that's the motion I'm making,
I'll second that.
okay? So all in
Excuse me,
favor?
could you repeat just the motion part, what exactly is the motion?
Okay, the motion, I'm making a motion that the plan be conditionally approved, okay?
On the conditions,
And the conditions that, it's the site distance was the issue. That was what, you were there at the last PC meeting, you had seen.
I'm just asking you
Okay.
what the conditions, what's your
Okay.
motion?
All right, the motion is that the plan be conditionally approved, and as long as the planning commission approves the changes that were made at tomorrow night's PC meeting, then it won't have to go through, it won't have to come back and wait until the next township meeting, that we'll go ahead and approve it conditionally at this point. But again, it's got to be approved by the PC as well. So
And
those
the only issue is the driveway issue.
driveway is
right?
the only thing that was an issue, as you recall.
So that's the only issue that
Right.
the planning commission has to
Approve.
make a favorable recommendation on.
Correct. So did I make it clear enough, or would you like it more
Just-
succinctly put, or?
Yeah, just simply put.
Okay,
The
sure.
condition, you're making a motion
Okay, I'm
to
making a
conditionally
motion.
approve the plan.
Let me say it, okay? I'm making a motion that the plan be conditionally approved, conditioned on the planning commission approving the changes. With,
Can the
again,
planning
drive-
commission making a favorable recommendation on the changes to the driveway
Yes, to the driveway,
as set forth on this revised plan? Is that it?
correct. Because apparently there aren't any actual, you made some corrections on here, I saw on the second page.
Yeah.
So, as long as the PC has approved it, then it doesn't have to come back to next month's meeting, it doesn't have to wait. Okay, everybody happy with the way it was said? Okay? Now, can I get a second on that?
second it.
Okay. So, we're all set then.
Do you just have 2 DEP papers?
Well, yeah, we will, and just to make it clear for the record, I seconded it.
Yeah.
So, unanimous, yeah, okay, approved. Go ahead.
We do have 2 papers that need signed, the DEP for the sanitary exemption
Okay,
and the sewage. We need sign those.
Okay.
We need to send out.
You should make a
Is that
motion to
something-
sign. Let me see.
Yeah, yep, it's a 10-acre permit exemption to that one. That's a request for a plan waiver.
Yeah. Now that's for the soups to sign, or the PC? Chairman.
PC will sign tomorrow too, and you guys will sign tonight. Please, like that.
So
You guys should have the originals.
You have to make a motion to accept the plan as a non-building lot.
It's not a non-building lot. It's a 10-acre exemption.
3%.
If you have, like, if you want that,
Yeah. Where do you want the signature?
This one gets signed. This one signs right there. And this one, secretary signs here. This is
So it is a non-building lot. You should make a motion to sign this thing, or for the township to approve both of those.
so I'm making a motion to sign the 10-acre exemption documentation and also the sewage enforcement
So
officer.
now the non-building lot for the residual.
residual tract.
Non-building lot, I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, our request for planning waiver and non-building declaration. For this is Barry and Terry Beaver.
For the residual lands.
I'm sorry.
Residual for the residual lands. That's what that is.
All in favor? Aye.
This liquid agency here, the, just gotta put their one, then secretary signature.
There's another copy.
Yeah, you guys should have the original copies. Great, thank you.
Set. I'll see you tomorrow evening at
Yep.
7.
Yep. Great, yeah. All right, thanks.
Stephen Pittman, plan.
Yes, I'm here representing Barry and Terry Deven as well as Bobby Hittman. Bobby is who I'm working for, and we're subdividing Deven lands, which you're familiar with it. We're proposing 2 lot addition lots to lands of Bob and Stephanie Hittman. And we've been through the planning commission, and then I think we're here for signatures tonight. And I too have a non-building waiver that the township is supposed to sign.
So there's a second.
Yeah, these, for some reason, they didn't get to the planning commission meeting, but
Did Chris sign off?
okay, yeah, we can take one original with yours, I guess.
There was nothing else in particular that came up that you're aware of?
No, we did very well. We had revisions before that last planning commission meeting, and they made recommendation to approve, and
Does the board have the minutes from the planning commission?
That's what I was just, because I know Tim didn't get them in yet, as far as the minutes. Tell you what I'd like to do, if you don't mind. I was at the planning commission meeting, we don't have the minutes from the meeting, but what I'd like to do, are you doing the reason to come tomorrow, Peter? The only thing I'd like to do, just so I'm absolutely crystal clear on everything, is we're going to be getting the minutes, and I will be talking with said, you're right, does anybody mind if I make a quick call? Just for sake. Because what I was gonna do otherwise is just kind of do the same thing, but you don't have to go back through the planning commission because it's already been, as far as I know, approved.
Has the planning commission recommended approval?
Yeah, they signed off on it.
Yeah.
Right, they've already signed it.
I
What
think
are
it's
we
okay.
asking about that?
Well,
What, they've already signed it?
What the
Yeah,
conditions?
these plans were at that meeting.
yeah, like I said, I don't see a problem. I know Frank questioned the fact that we don't have the minutes on it,
If they've already signed the plan.
so, okay.
But
then-
they-
already signed the recommended-
Excuse me, but if they signed it with conditions, how's the board supposed to know what the conditions were?
If the conditions aren't on here, they've signed it.
That's not the way our planning commission works. That's not the way our planning
It's
commission
up
works.
to you, board. I'm telling you, if the planning commission signs it,
I didn't make the motion, the planning commission signed it, make a motion to sign it.
well, you're making a motion to give final approval to
Yes,
the
I am.
plan. Is that what you're,
Yes, I am.
that would be the motion that you would decide to make?
Yes, because the planning commission approved it. Well, there's no conditions on here, either side.
And there never is. There never is. But do you understand that? Do you understand that, Glenn? I'm just asking. Do you understand the planning commission submits their conditions to the board, which is what Pat goes to the planning commission
I
meeting
know
for?
that, I've quit, you know what, I'm deferring.
I understand.
Frank, I'm doing this for you more than anybody.
Well, you're doing it for the township, not for me. You're doing it for the township.
You mean the planning commission signs the plan?
Yes. If they give conditional approval, they'll put their signatures on it, and they will forward their conditional approval to the supervisors, which is what Pat is supposed to be on board to carry to the supervisors, but we don't get it. Now, I'm pointing this out to Glenn because this is the way it's been working, Glenn. She's the appointee to the Sterling Planning Commission, but she doesn't bring what the planning commission does. It's a problem. It's a problem that needs resolved. I tried to resolve it for years, got nowhere. Now it needs resolved.
But Chris Pepper shouldn't sign it unless there's it states on that plan.
Just like you guys just did with the other plan?
They won't sign it.
Just went
They
through.
won't sign it until the conditions are.
That's not true.
met.
That is not the way they do it. They will
Sign
give
it before the
conditional
conditions are
approval and
met.
they will sign it.
Before the conditions are met.
Yes, if they feel the conditions that the plan can be met before the supervisors meeting, they will put their signatures on.
Generally, conditional approval does not get the signatures until the conditions.
But they're just a recommending body.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Well,
generally,
Then talk to them. Pat's the one that's been pushing to get these signatures on there to keep the plans moving through the process. Now, I feel it's not good for the township, just for this reason. It sits there, and I'm not picking on this plan at all. I have no idea what the conditions are. Pat should, but whatever they were, we don't know. Hopefully, they're nothing, and we can move the plan through. But the planning commission has been signing the plans if the conditions are small. For example, notary and signature, something like that. They say, okay, we're gonna give conditional, we'll sign it. Yeah, you're gonna notarize it. Simple stuff. They sign it to keep it moving.
Okay, I got concurrence, which I thought, again, was, the only reason I did that was for you, Frank.
No, please, you did it for the township, Pat.
She's
Okay,
working for
fine,
township.
okay. No, I'm saying, because you brought up, you questioned it, so that's all I'm saying. Okay, anyway, so I would say that I'm going to make a motion to go ahead and sign this.
he made a motion.
Yeah.
So, and I second it. Second
Go
it.
ahead and
she's-
do what's wrong.
She was at the planning commission
The way it
meeting.
always is.
She would have them minutes. Yeah,
So you will get your signatures.
yeah.
Yes, tonight.
Yeah.
We need a vote taken.
Oh, okay.
Motion was made and seconded,
Motion
but you didn't
seconded.
vote on it.
All in favor? Aye.
Well, there is.
Okay.
It's a
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There's conditions written in there that she's doing on. They didn't bring the list. That's right. Brian said that too. I can't understand how this can be done. This is not the way it's supposed to be done. Linda Heffenfinger. How can we approve something that isn't being run the way it's supposed to be run for the protocol in our system? I'm really baffled by this.
I have a
I guess
question
I
also.
get ignored.
I have a question for Linus. Is this legal?
Yeah, the planning commission has recommended approval, they signed the plan.
But
Yes.
there's conditions there. They
They're-
don't know
they're-
what they
they're- They
are.
signed this plan, and they recommended approval.
But where are the conditions? It should
Linda,
come
there is
from
no
the planning.
condition.
There are no
Look at it.
conditions.
There is
There are
none.
no conditions.
There is none.
There are none. On this plan.
Did we hear that? I didn't hear that.
She got that from the phone call.
She said that she's satisfied, but she never told us what the planning commission.
The planning commission, as the planning commission said, that everything's okay.
There's no conditions. The planning commission said there are no conditions.
Anything that, I'm not gonna have to put words in.
Okay, what did they say?
Everything has been approved.
Okay.
There's no problem with signing this.
You need to make a motion that's the same as what,
So let the record show that it's recorded that the planning commission says there's no problem
Bobby does not,
with signing.
he's not buying that with the intention of putting sewage on, he's taking responsibility.
Something illegal going on
Make
here.
his lot, existing lot larger, he's signing off that he's waiving his rights to, as the purchaser, to sewage testing.
So, make a motion.
The planning commission meeting last month, then the minutes should be here.
Well, the minutes would have to be approved by the planning commission before they're valid.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I feel that the planning commission should have, if they have conditional approval, they would have some sort of attachment.
Yeah.
You know, conditional approval has put attachment, it's right on the document.
Actually, there should be somebody from the planning commission here sitting right here.
Well, there is a representative.
Yeah, I know. But she can't vote on the planning commission or nothing. She can't make no motion or nothing.
She does.
I'll be here tomorrow night.
Good.
Secretary or chair can sign.
I have several copies of that.
Otherwise, I'll sign it. Okay, any other place that needs to be signed, make sure everybody knows whatever it is that needs to be signed.
This shows her incapable because she didn't give up. She's supposed to bring this from the planning commission to here.
You need one more. How to do the taxes. New York City's a long.
Linus, I just found my notes from that planning commission meeting, and they actually recommended 2 waivers to the subdivision land development ordinance that have been addressed.
Those would need to be addressed. Are there waivers? Do you know if there are any waivers?
Well,
Are they on the plan? I mean, they should address the waivers.
okay, I wasn't aware, I thought they went through, we do have them, those listed on the plan, and they were approved by the,
Recommended approval by the planning commission.
Yeah.
What are the waivers?
preliminary plan requirement and plan size requirement, and they okayed that.
Okay, that should be formally addressed by you guys,
So,
approving those 2 waivers.
okay, the 2 waivers, preliminary plan requirement and the plan size requirement. those were both approved by the planning commission. So do I make a motion, you're saying?
You make a motion to approve those waivers
Okay, making a motion to approve those two waivers
from the subdivision and land development ordinance.
from the subdivision and development ordinance. Do you hear a second? All in favor? Good there? Now, as far as just,
So Glenn, here we sit, again, you're told one thing, and it's entirely different. The planning commission recommended these waivers.
but they've been
They're
approved.
on the plan.
They are not approved. You guys had to approve them. You see where we are? And he just told you, you have to, they don't approve waivers. They recommend
Right,
them.
that's right, but they
You
were.
guys have to act on them, and you didn't.
But they were.
So
they were
had this
approved.
gone through without me finding my notes from that meeting, the township would have been in jeopardy.
The worst that could have happened was that they were approved, they were on the plan. The worst that could have happened is they wouldn't have been approved. But they're on the plan, and they were approved by the plan, or approved by the
You
plan.
just heard it from your legal representative. You guys have to act.
Okay, now we
So
don't
all
know.
I'm saying to Glenn is, this is the way it works. It needs fixed, okay? There's a problem here.
All right, as far as, the date and environment, right? Or is that something that, as far as, who signs that? Don't forget, I don't usually.
I'm not forgetting anything, Pat.
Okay, fine. Do you need a couple of these signed, couple of sets? Anything else? Thank you. You're welcome. Tell me when. At some point, last time frame, it would be, you know, you're all set. So we'll just keep on carrying on, I guess. That's- At some point. when-
Zoning officer.
Excuse me. Jason Lukens asked me to bring in his application for zoning officer to ensure that it is delivered during a public meeting, as his last one was reported missing. That's what I was told.
I have a comment. We got John Heffenfinger, we got a letter, mass mailing, and I feel that piece of paper is nothing but toilet paper, because it was on no letterhead from the township, and there was no signatures from any of the township supervisors on it. Anybody could have made that letter up and mailed it out.
Well, I can make I can assure you that that was made out for and by the supervisors, and it was mailed out legitimately from the post office.
I'm not questioning the legitimacy
Oh,
of
okay.
that. I'm just saying that it should have been on a township letterhead, and the people that had their names across there, the supervisors, should have signed that paper,
Okay?
that they were all in agreement with what that letter said.
Okay. I appreciate your comment, and I'll take that into consideration for our next letter. Okay? Thank
There's
you.
nothing paid for, there's nothing else to be paid for.
Yeah, and usually things that we got, it had on there, it was paid by so-and-so, or it was paid by a supervisor.
As you recall, at the meeting when we made the motion to accept the amendments, it was noted and it was, a motion was made, and we did talk about sending out a letter. whichever
Yes,
way.
I remember that, yes.
The people don't know it anymore.
No, but nobody else knows.
Okay.
Yes, I have a comment for the public comment section. You just adopted that ordinance, and I think we discussed this before, but the township just spent, after spending $40,000 more over budget from last year, you guys just spent $1,000 to do that special meeting process to adopt that ordinance. The total cost of which was totally avoidable. We didn't have to spend a nickel of that because there still is a subdivision driveway ordinance that's going to rewrite that whole thing. And it's almost ready for adoption. So I feel that was a total, that's my comment. My comment is I feel that was a total waste of township taxpayer dollars.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Okay, next. Zoning officer?
You have before you a zoning activity report. There were 2 permits issued, one for Carol Holler at 3220 Susquehanna Trail, and one for Hill United Methodist Church at Forehead Church Road. As you look on the bottom, violation issues, Carol Holler issue is resolved with a permit. Mr. Posick wrote a letter to the township in response to his violation letter, and I am passing it on to the solicitor. That's it, unless you have any questions.
I don't know if this falls under zoning officer or not, but I was called kind of through the grapevine that down here, and I think it's Park Motel, has a dumpster that's just totally overflowing, blowing onto the neighbor's property. They haven't paid their bill for Sylvester, and Sylvester's not refusing to pick it up. Is that something we get involved with, or
What kind of pump is
what's that?
it? What kind of pump is it?
No, it's a dumpster.
A dumpster?
Yeah, it's a dumpster that the bill apparently hasn't been paid on, Sylvester's not picking it up, and there's just overflowing.
And it's at the motel?
Yeah, I think it's at the Park Motel.
I'll look into it, thank you.
Apparently the trash is blowing all over the neighborhood.
Thank you.
I guess my question on that is why is the township spending money when all the Park Motel has to do is call the guy and tell him to come get it?
That's my question to Bob. Is this something that we need to get involved with, or is that?
But what does it have to do with the zoning officer? Why are we spending our township money?
That's my question. I mean,
Now, you just appointed him to spend our.
I didn't appoint him to do anything. I asked him, and he said he would look into it.
And that's spent our money. As soon as
The
he
neighbors
looks into it.
getting trash blowed onto their property. I mean,
All right,
we-
well,
what did you
that's
call
your
it?
job. That's your job, not, we don't have to pay him to do that.
It's a
We pay him
supervisor's
$20
job
an hour
to
plus
police.
driving there. We pay him $20 an hour plus driving there. Now, why should we pay him to do something that's the township responsibility, not the zoning officer?
Is it the township responsibility or the
Well,
police responsibility?
It's not the zoning officer's responsibility.
When trash blows from your
It's-
property
it's
on
not
somebody
his
else's, whose is it?
responsibility. That's your
That's my
responsibility, not
question,
his.
Frank.
Well, ask him.
Yes.
Is it a township
Do you
responsibility or
do
zoning
other
officer?
than zoning, Mr. Hart?
Doesn't cover trash.
Do you do other than zoning issues?
I do all the
Any ordinance
ordinance.
violation issues?
Can you tell us what would apply? We
I
have
think
no,
that
we have
there
no
may be
trash
a-
ordinance.
there may be, if there's a nuisance ordinance or something like that, he can look into it. I've also seen that,
My question to the board is, why are we spending our tax dollars that were already $40,000 over last year? Why are we spending our money to appoint somebody $20 an hour plus mileage when you guys can pick up the phone and investigate it? The secretary can pick up the phone and investigate it. Why do we have to pay $20 an hour?
Is it ours or is it a police issue, Frank? You know, that's,
You're not going to know unless you have the secretary pick up the phone and investigate it. You see what I'm saying? But rather than spending the money, let's try another route first. Instead of just keep spending the money. That's why we're $40,000 over.
Frank, you really want to talk about spending the money?
Yeah, bring it on.
Huh?
Yeah, bring it on.
We spent.
You have heard rumors, buddy, and you can leave them in the trash.
All right.
Now, you're spending the money right here, plain and simple. There's $20 an hour you're spending, and we don't have to. Have our secretary pick up the phone and give a call. It's free.
Okay.
So I'm asking you to
I think-
remove that recommendation and make another one that saves us some money instead of
Frank,
just spending it.
Frank, okay. Well, here's what we'll do, okay? Again, let's try to keep everything as civil as we can.
I'm calm. It's like you just spend money like it's going out of
Okay,
style.
well, let's not go there right now because that will
That's
ensue another
fine.
situation that we don't want to go to. So, can you hold off on that or whatever
I was
requirement?
gonna just suggest I can do it at no charge to the township,
I see,
as a good citizen of the township.
there you go.
okay, there we go,
Thank you,
okay.
thank you. But without my inquiry, we'd be spending $20 an hour.
I'd like to point out that Mr. Frank Cotton has never cost the township any money. All he
I
is
disagree.
about as honest and
I
as
disagree.
they come. And he's over there beating his gum and he says to us about, he should be embarrassed to even speak to the supervisors of West Township after the trouble we caused. Instead of that, he's coming to every meeting and he always has an opinion. What I mean, did he do everything right? Hell no, he didn't. He made a lot of mistakes, and I got a lot of stuff back home to prove to what he cost the township when I was part of the planning commission. He was billed 10,000, 5,000, 7,000, and that was all Jerry and him. So, take his word as a daily grain of salt, that's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay,
I'm sorry about that.
No,
I didn't introduce
No, no.
myself. I'm Ryan Peters, probably the oldest resident in West Township. And damn, I lived in this township ever since I was born. And I never seen an asshole like him in plain words since I've been part of West Township. Now, I'd like to see anybody talk that if they could. There's a lot of people in here who make additional comments about that nice fellow over there sitting at the end of the table.
I'd like to see our board maintain some order
okay,
and require that we don't call people's names at public meetings.
okay.
And then I'd like to state that I don't entirely disagree with Mr. Peters. I've cost the township some money, and I've saved the township a whole lot of money. That's where I'll leave it.
Any more public comment?
Linda Heffenfinger. The stop signs that are over at the end of our, at the Y at Amity and Notch, they need to move.
They're going to
They
actually,
need to be redone.
no, they're going to, that is something that we've addressed and Jerry has addressed and we have the plan in place. Carl was sick, otherwise, and I have the plans as to where we're going to put the signs and that will probably be done, my guess was in probably the next 2 weeks or so. So,
Along that lines, I asked for the traffic study for that weeks ago. Have we found that yet?
Not the, he made a drawing, he did not do a formal traffic study.
Well, while we're here, Linus when we're putting up new signs and changing signs, stop signs particularly, doesn't that require a traffic study according to the code?
Not just replacing signs, I don't
No, we're moving them and putting new ones up.
There's a kind of like a T or a Y coming off of a road, and the stop signs were moved to a different location, and then there was another stop sign put in. And what we're going to do is sort of simplify things so it makes it a lot more flowing, because just because of the juxtaposition of the stop sign where it was. So it's a matter of, Jerry has looked at it, he's conferred with Carl, and have come up with a pretty good solution, I think.
know. I can talk to them about it, or Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that Jerry has submitted, Carl concurred with it, I think you got a copy of it in your box. I don't know if you saw it, Mike.
I don't think we need to spend money on an intersection that's been there for 100 years and everybody's drove through it.
Yeah, well, the thing
I
is,
agree, it should stay the way it is, it's not hurting
well, no,
anything.
the sign.
There's never been a wreck there except for
Never.
somebody who ran through the stop sign on his own.
Right, no, like I said, but. what-
Okay, my question was, does putting up new signs and changing the location of existing signs require a traffic
Well,
study?
are they changing, they're all still stop roads, I think.
No,
No.
they're gonna change the
One's-
stop roads.
One's a stop,
The
it's gonna be
proposal
a
is to
stop,
change the
and
stop
then unless
roads.
you're gonna make a right-hand turn, then it'll just say stop except for right-hand turn. So that sign, that stop sign, will just say stop, and then underneath it's gonna be put a sign that says except for right-hand turn. That's the only change on that.
I drive that intersection every day,
So do I.
twice a day. I hardly ever
You
need a
come,
car
but
there.
you come a different,
Hardly ever.
you come a different way than everybody on Notch.
I've lived there 30 years, there's been one wreck where a guy ran
Well, we're not
off the
talking
road.
about, I'm talking.
30 years,
Okay.
that's part of a traffic study. I'm asking the solicitor, and I know the answer is yes. Does changing stop signs, the location, the direction of flow require a traffic study? The answer is yes, according to the code.
Why can't we just have 2 yields on it?
Well,
Either way, whatever you do, it's gonna require a traffic study.
Just
Jerry,
let-
Jerry's already.
He knows what to do, he should know what to do, whether a speed study, whether a traffic study is necessary or not.
I'm gonna go here with my nip in the bud saying, if a traffic study, I'm gonna make an announcement this time, if a traffic study is to be, I'm gonna make a motion, if a traffic study is to be deemed necessary by Jerry, then I'm gonna make a motion that one be done, if Jerry deems it so. If not, we're just gonna let it go, so it gets proposed as it is. Jerry already did everything, figured out where the signs are going, Carl concurred with it, I concur with it. It's just a matter of putting the stops, taking out the stop sign, and you know where it is, coming off a Notch. Everybody's got to crank their head way
What was
around.
your motion? I'm just asking what the motion
Okay, the motion is, just a minute, excuse me, John. The motion is, if Jerry deems it necessary that a speed study need to be done, or a traffic study, then we'll go ahead and do it. But if not, then we're just going to go ahead and proceed as Jerry has made the recommendation.
Well, then what if
What
Jerry decides it doesn't, but the state requires it, and we're in another pickle? I think the state requires it, if you read the state.
I don't think we need to make a motion until Jerry says yes or no, we need a traffic study.
There's 3
I don't
stop
think we need a
signs.
traffic study when everybody lives there.
I
I'm
would
not
agree.
making a motion for it to spend money on traffic study.
They already spent money on
Just
what,
defer it
how
to
many
next
stop
month.
signs
We'll see
there.
what Jerry says.
There's 3, at least 3.
Thank you.
All right, so,
I have one comment here. I do not trust Jerry on any traffic studies because he did the traffic study over on Circle Road and it was a drive-through like driving around McDonald's. End of comment.
John, you've been driving through there for how many years? Do you need a stop sign, really? Does anybody need a sign there?
No, I never had any problem.
Before they trimmed all that brush back on the
Yeah,
other side of
on the other
Notch,
side of the road.
we almost got hit a couple times there, and so did Brian.
We're talking
It was
about your road,
dangerous.
the one you drive every day.
We drive it every day, yes.
Yeah.
The way the stop sign is right now, it's clear down onto almost the road.
right, and
Then you have one up at the hump. When you come up that hump in that bad weather, people have to back
Yeah,
down and
that's-
then back up again. They can't get up that hill right. Two people
Okay, is there any
already
other
did
new
that.
business,
all right,
public comment?
okay. Anything else? Okay, anything else? Okay, what's the next?
Well, the engineer isn't here.
Okay. All right. So, let's see.
There's no SEO report. We're at solicitor.
Okay, under step hearing.
We'll deal with that at the next hearing meeting. The step driveway permit will be handled at the next meeting.
Okay.
Was there a hearing already?
There was a hearing.
There was.
There was a public hearing.
When was that?
March 9th.
And what was that covered under?
It was a local agency hearing.
What's that mean?
It was held on the
Appeal of a driveway permit, appeal of any permit would be handled as a local agency hearing.
Just the township meeting, or?
It's a board of supervisors is the local agency, and they handle that type of hearing. Similar to an appeal of a sewage permit from a sewage enforcement officer to the board of supervisors. It's very similar. It's a local agency hearing. The board has to issue an adjudication.
And they have a time frame to do that?
No, there's really not a time frame, specifically 30 days, 40 years.
I guess my question is, why is this the first we're hearing about it if the hearing already took place?
It was noted in the minutes of your...
And it was advertised.
It was noted in the minutes of the last meeting.
That there was gonna be a public hearing on this, on the step driveway?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was advertised in the Montana Record.
It was advertised.
Thank you.
Fire company,
It was an appeal by the neighbor.
I think I understand that.
okay. Fire company,
You got your monthly report, finance report. Other than that, no change really, except we're very, very busy. That's about it.
okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to old business. Status of the Saldo, Chapter 6 revision, Secretary needs to finish.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, okay. Audit 2013, we need 2 people for 2013 audit. And do you want to address it one at a time, or just?
Well, then,
Just go on to the next.
Yeah.
Audit 2014, we need 1 person. So that's it in reference to the audit. And if anybody knows anyone who is a CPA, again, anybody who knows anyone who is a CPA, let us know, or wants to volunteer for this. Was it $10 an hour? $12 an hour? $10 an hour. Okay, and then moving on to 4, Act 537 Committee, Lucas Parks, scheduling a DEP meeting. I'm not sure when we're going to do it. I guess we have to figure out a time frame.
that's what he had sent me to an email. It has to do with this GIS data sharing agreement, which I'll read when we get down there and he addresses.
Excuse me, about the audit. The auditors get paid $10 an hour, but I'm pretty sure that the CPA would be contracted out at a different rate.
Right, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
we had talked about that last time.
Yeah,
I realized
yeah, I just wanted to-
For the purposes of this meeting, yeah,
Mhm.
right, for volunteers, so to
Yes.
speak, that's the $10 an hour rate.
Yep,
For CPA, they can charge what they want to.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you for that clarification.
I have a question.
Yeah.
To give you guys, not to give you guys a hard time, but at what point do we say, we've got to get a
We
CPA?
need to hire someone.
Yeah, is there
It's
a
getting-
legal
Well, I don't
time
know.
frame?
The legal
Well,
part.
I mean, so we've never done a 2013 audit?
We're getting letters from DCED.
Yeah, you really need to, act on it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think at some point, if you can't, in other words, you can't find auditors.
well, we had someone who was going to be doing it. His mother passed away, and it was kind of put off, and unfortunately got put off.
I mean, if I were the township, I'd seriously consider
Just
hiring
hire a CPA.
a firm that has the capability of doing these audits.
Okay,
I mean, the DCE, you're already behind the 8 ball.
right, right.
And we have to do a request for proposals, right, for a
No.
CPA?
No.
No?
If you know of a couple firms, you can ask them to
Okay.
submit a request.
Good.
You do not have to go out with an RFP. It's a personal service, doesn't require it.
Okay.
So if you know of a couple firms that would have that capability, you want to make sure they have the capability of doing a proper audit for a municipality.
Municipality.
I don't know what else we can do to the residents to reach out to them and see if somebody wants to do it. I've been talking to them. Anybody have any suggestions?
It gets very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, well, keep your ears and eyes open if anybody hears of anyone. Otherwise, we'll just, at some point soon, go ahead and contract someone.
DCE is going to get all over you.
Yeah, and so we'll make sure that we do something about that in a timely fashion.
Could you make a motion this evening to have the secretary contact some firms and get some quotes?
We can, but apparently we don't need a motion per se for that.
Well,
That's
yeah,
something-
if you want Nancy to do that, I would suggest you do that. For her to contact some firms that have this capability and get estimates, cost estimates.
What, just so I'm clear.
Just a motion to,
My opinion is, right now, everybody that's a CPA is just boggled with April 15th and not going to want to do anything about it.
they may give you a price. I mean, there are certain
Anything right
firms,
now, we probably don't need any more business at this point.
well, they won't do it right until they get complete through tax season, but that's soon over, so. I mean, it's up to you, if you want to get some prices, you certainly can authorize Nancy to get some costs. I mean, there's no charge to doing that.
Now, just so I'm clear, what was it that you said that we didn't, because we didn't need something, this is a reference to the audit.
A request for proposal.
That's
I don't
what
have to.
You don't have to
Okay,
advertise, she
advertise,
can just
okay,
make some.
that's
phone
what I
calls.
thought you were saying, that we didn't need to make,
We don't
i.e.
have
a motion for, but you're saying making, okay.
Make a
So we'll
motion
make a motion
to,
to.
requesting the secretary
requesting Nancy
to
to-
secure some proposals.
Okay, to secure proposals for finding someone to do a CPA, to do our audit, 2013. And
Could you
that's
get the letter
2014.
from the state?
Is there a second?
Is there a set, wait, just 1 second, Joby, please. Unless you,
In 2014?
yeah, I said 2013, until you want to, well, actually, 2014.
We do have one, we may be
do have
able
one,
to
we may be able
secure
to
one
secure
other one, but we've got to get 2013 done.
So let me complete that motion. So for 2013, Nancy can at least do some inquiries, that's what I'm making a motion for. Do I get a second on that?
Yeah, inquiries.
Okay, inquiries, then, all in favor, aye? Okay, all right, so, I'm sorry, Joby, go ahead.
Where'd you get the letter from the state? Who was the organization?
DCED.
Please get that audit done. That affects me. I got over $800,000 in grant money in 10 years for this fire company. Some of them from DPD. And I put Watts Township on there and I get denied because the taxes ain't done. That needs to get done.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that. You guys are our employer, and that affects the fire company. And we live off of grants. Everybody thinks we're making money down here, but we live off of grants. It's the only way we survive, and that's big. When you said that, that's huge for us.
Well, I think it's to the point where we have no choice but to hire a CPA.
Yeah, so please get
There's
that.
no sense sitting here anymore waiting on
Yes.
Right.
Johnny Doodler to walk through the door.
I understand, trying to find somebody to help out, but
Right, I
when you
got
get a
you.
letter from them, that affects this house right here.
All right, well,
And that's important.
we'll see about making it so, how's that?
Thank you.
Okay?
On the subject of the audits, we should have all the 2013 data in place. Is that-
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
Now, when we hire a CPA, do you intend to send the originals out to him? We talked about that months ago. Or are we going to do it by email or what? We
Well,
talked
that's what
about-
I will find out.
we talked
I'll find out
about
how,
scanning.
if they would prefer, usually a CPA does kind of move this.
Yeah, generally they'll come to the township office,
Yeah,
generally.
yeah,
That's what the book says.
Yeah, the second-class code agrees with that.
right.
We have the 213s in place. Can we ensure that the 214s are gotten ready for next month? Is that a problem?
That's not a problem. No, I mean, I have all my spreadsheets done.
All right, can we just get them ready? Because
Yeah.
214, as soon as if we find an
Well,
auditor
we
next
need an
month, they
auditor,
can do
yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be ready to go as soon as the 2013's done, because the balances have to carry forward.
But all the paperwork can be,
Yep.
can be prepared in the meantime for
Yep,
2014.
yep.
I think that would be a good
Absolutely.
idea.
Yep, I agree. I
Can
want it done too.
can the supervisors hire a CPA before the next meeting?
Now,
No?
Can you authorize the
That CPA
supervisors
has to do
to
right
hire?
well, no, because there's going to be a cost factor, and quite honestly, it's going to be probably substantial. My experience in other municipalities that have, where CPAs come in, I think you should wait, now that you've waited this long, get some proposals and deal with it at the meeting in May.
You get proposals, you go get them for 13 and 14 together?
Yeah.
Is that what Frank was talking about?
They'll have to do
We
it.
can't-
We have to do 13, whether they want to do 14 or not, we don't know.
You can get a proposal for 14 and then decide what you're going to do.
To me, you might as well, because you're already 2 years behind schedule now, so you might as well, if we're gonna do 14 too. Yeah, it's gonna be money in our pocket, but we're already behind.
True, and then we have a proposal for 2014 if we cannot find another auditor.
Exactly.
We do have Judy Hart as an auditor, so, yeah.
But there'll be separate,
Wouldn't hurt.
separate proposals. You can
Right,
take
right.
one
Yeah.
or both or not.
Yep.
I just, question, the donation for claims.
Oh, we never did everything, so, what is in the budget?
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I just got a text from them, and
Well-
asking when.
Yeah,
So,
you can either bring that up now or when the bills,
okay,
when we get the bills.
okay, remind me.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Audit, okay. Act 537, we kind of talked about that as far as Lucas Park's scheduling a DEP meeting, and we want to take it from there as far as whatever discussion you've had with him, because that's the most recent. You've had a more recent discussion than I had with him in reference to that. He just wants to.
Well, there's another part of this for the Act 537 plan. He wants to, let me read this. It's an email I received from Lucas Parks. We are reviewing the background information and are moving forward with the Act 537 plan. We are in the process of scheduling the kickoff meeting with DEP. In gathering the background information, we feel it would be very beneficial to have the GIS mapping information from Perry County. Attached is the agreement that needs signed to permit ADS to use the GIS data in our Act 537 plan mapping. Could you have the supervisors sign this form and return it to me? I will submit it to Perry County and we will move forward with mapping for the project. Watts Township can receive this GIS information from Perry County for free. And what it is an agreement with Perry County, just stipulating the uses of the GIS information and what can and can't be done. I can read it if you would like me to.
No need to,
No need?
but you should do it by motion.
Yes.
Can we get copies of it?
So we need to make a motion to approve signing the Perry
Perry County GIS data sharing agreement. Yeah, making a motion for the GIS data sharing agreement. This is in reference to the conversation you had with Lucas Parks, right?
The Act 537.
Yeah, 537.
Yes, yes. So, making that motion that we sign this.
I'll second it.
Second. All in favor? Aye. As I know.
Yes, you need to, I think it's just the first line there up here.
So that's it. Okay, we resolved that, we're all set then? Okay. Moving on to website hosting, received IT assistance and computer cleanup from Ken Snyder. Go ahead, Nancy.
He came in and spent about an hour just going through and making sure there weren't any viruses, cleaning up temporary files. He showed me how to post the minutes onto the website. So, look forward to that in the future. I will be posting those minutes on the website and moving along with getting other things posted, but the minutes I know were really important. So it was well worth $70 to have him clean up the computer and train me to do that. He also suggested having a performance update every 3 months, you know, where he just comes in, cleans out the temporary files and makes sure everything is okay. I don't know if we need every 3 months, maybe once a year.
Okay. So that's, we won't make a motion on that per se, since we have months to, unless you
Right.
feel, yeah. In other words, we can make that motion next month if we decide.
Sure.
Or anytime you feel that it's
Yes.
deemed necessary, let us know.
Yes,
and make a motion.
this gentleman is very highly knowledgeable and he really helped me out a lot. Yeah.
Glad we got that resolved.
Me too.
Okay. Going on to new business.
Excuse me, I have one question. Did the supervisors put in for the grant money from the Conservation Department for stone and that type of,
No. Carl is the one that is certified,
right?
and I have given him that information. To date, no, I have not gotten anything.
How long do you have before you can't submit anything anymore?
They do this every few months. I'm honestly not sure what the cutoff date is for that.
Yeah, because we had talked to that agency as our group, and we were waiting for that to come through because of our road for one thing. But there's a Marta Road and a couple of the other roads in this township are really bad.
Yes.
So
Well-
we can't see letting that grant money just be wasted, even
At
if
least
it comes
apply
up every
for it.
so often. Yeah,
Right.
you can apply again, so
Right.
I can't see letting it go without trying to get that money, which you, if you're approved, you just send it, the papers in and it comes.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
I will mention that to Carl again. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's why he went for the class, was to get certified so he could be eligible for that.
Exactly.
On that same subject, I did get a letter from the Conservation Service saying the grants are now available, and you can use it for shoulder stone. If you have to fill in stone along your shoulders, it doesn't have to be a gravel road.
See, I didn't get
As
that
long
letter.
as it's used on the shoulder.
Where'd you get that from?
Soil Conservation Service, they sent it directly to me. I requested it whenever they get the grants going. They send a copy to me. But in there, I believe it did say the time is of the essence. You need to get on the list
Yeah.
because it's going to get eaten up. Now, I think Pat's also certified.
I was just gonna say, that was the one that was like a 2-day course.
Yes.
That was, yeah, I was just gonna say I'm certified in that too.
Well, then
So,
we'll
hey,
hold that out.
we're gonna get, yeah.
You might as well,
Yeah.
in my view, you might as well apply for it.
Yeah.
The worst they can do is say no.
Right, okay,
And it's for low volume roads, they don't, it says dirt and gravel, but it's also low volume, and I was told that they can be used for shoulder stone, so we might as well get stone if we're free if we can.
I'll tell you what, if you, the information that you've gotten, if you wouldn't mind either, can you email it to the
Yeah, I
township?
can probably fax it or forward it in an email.
Okay, that'd be good, because that way Nancy's in tomorrow and she can look at it and I can stop by and take a look at what's what, okay?
Yeah.
All right, very good, that's the kind of positive.
Well, we should have got the copy of it. Said it went to the townships. Said it went to all townships.
In an email?
No,
Oh,
it was a
that
letter.
page.
It was a letter from SCS, and maybe it's in the correspondence. It just came last month, though, so check your correspondence.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Thanks, Linda. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, new business. Let's see, we need to make a motion, I guess we make a motion to approve Glenn as additional check signer on bank accounts. So I'm making a motion that Glenn is added as a additional check signer on the bank accounts, that's with Mifflin Town.
Can't be seconded at this meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, you
does-
can second.
Yeah, yeah, you can
You
say
can
second.
second it.
Not seconded then.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's
Okay.
off the docket. Okay, secretary, extra hours for April through July 1st. How many hours do you feel you need?
I think last time it was 10,
Okay,
and I have not used any of those.
Okay.
Just so everybody's clear, I haven't used any additional hours, no additional pay. I just like to have that cushion there in case I need it.
okay, so I make a motion that we give Nancy 10 extra hours per quarter from April to July 1st if she needs it.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, GIS,
We
What?
already
Sorry?
did that.
What?
We did that. That
okay,
was
that's
this.
the other, I was just gonna say, that sounds, okay, we're all done with that then. Roadmaster, I don't, did you wanna make any mention in reference to the, Lowtown or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lowtown Road was totally impassable. And Carl and I had gotten together to fix the roads. The only thing I see on the bills for that is for F&R material, it was 5 loads of 2A crushed modified, not 3. On there.
Oh, I couldn't read right.
His bill was for 5. So we got Lowtown Road, we stripped the mud off, we had shale brought in, leveled off, and Kelly Ricks was involved. We had F&R material bringing stone. The road still is, it's passable now, but it still needs a lot of work, even to be to the point where it needs to be blacktop. So we're going to have to spend a lot more money on Lowtown Road, but at least the residents can get to their houses now.
And they're happy
Turn around,
workers, from
yes.
what I understand. Okay.
While you're on that, who's Kevin Ferris?
Kevin Ferris was CNR Excavating. He was available that day to fix the road.
Yeah, the mud was so thick that people could not get back there to their homes with.
It was literally a foot deep right to the, Carl pulled in there with his van and it went right to the bumper.
So he brought the shale,
Yep.
and it says labor here also.
Well, it wasn't his labor, he brought his dozer.
So this is all labor? What is it for?
It's for his piece of equipment, his dozer and a laborer on the dozer.
So that's, the 595 is dozer.
Yes. I believe the bill was $85 an hour, and it came up to $5.95.
Discuss the plan.
Yeah, the planning commission, we think went over everything. So, anything else? Oh, the only thing I do want to make a motion is to advertise an amendment to the speed limit ordinance 2010-1 for Circle Road, reducing to 30 miles an hour per the township engineer's traffic study. That's for, we have to make that motion by the city. Because there's a traffic study that has to be done while it's done, but we have to advertise it. So, I mean, if we don't make a motion, the traffic study won't be advertised, therefore things won't move forward. So, give me a second on that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
So that's a new speed limit ordinance. Is that-
It'll just be it'll be an amendment to this, there's already a speed limit ordinance in effect. Be an amendment,
You're doing all over again, just one section of that?
just one
Just
section.
that section. Why, you wanted the whole thing, didn't you? Slow down?
No, it doesn't make sense, just make, the road's only 1.5 miles long.
It's a section
From one
that,
end to the other, and you're only gonna make 50 feet of it, one speed limit, and the other half an hour speed limit.
whatever the study was.
I'm just asking questions.
I think the whole township should be slowed down personally. I mean, if it were me driving, it would be a
Put
lot.
10 mile an hour up, wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, I
Right, it doesn't matter, but you know what I'm saying, you did that
Yeah.
study, you think you do the whole road as one speed limit instead of,
Well, it was because of what was
I
needed for
know.
that particular, yeah, area. But I see your point, I'm not debating you, believe me.
Nancy, one thing I think is missing on here is that travel timeline for the exchange.
So that's, you made a motion to advertise,
Yeah,
and when will the meeting be? Will it be adopted at the
the-
next
at the
regular
next
meeting?
public meeting, correct.
I'm Carol Zates. I have a comment. I was at the hearing for the driveway, and the engineer testified that he had driven it. I mean, I realize I come from the city area, but to just drive it in your personal car seems not quite a speed limit for a dangerous road like Circle Road. It's got hills, it has an S-curve, and it's a country road. And I do question the engineer just driving it and calling it a speed study, but that's my comment.
Apparently, that's the way, because I talked to him about that too, as far as the way it's conducted. And
That's the way speed studies are done.
That
in
is
Watts
correct.
Township.
Well, not just in Watts Township, in other townships as well. That's kind of usual and customary as far as the standard methodology. May not be a
Okay.
perfect way, but that's what is used as the method.
Okay, then.
I've seen some of the criteria that PennDOT has, and it's very lax.
Really? Okay.
I have to agree.
Do we need to ask more?
I mean, too, the difference, if I wouldn't be doing a speed study versus some other lead foot in the traffic, it would be different, as
Well,
far
it has
as.
to be done by qualified
Yeah,
engineers.
no, I know, that's
so-
why we have an engineer doing it.
so But the standards themselves are
Right,
very lax, that's all I'm saying.
anyway. Okay, let's see, motion to pay the bills,
I make a motion to pay the bills.
okay, I second the motion.
Question on the bills. The fire tax is not being paid.
I just got the check today, and it's a rather large one. So after I deposit that check, I will,
But the 3/9's not gonna be paid?
I did pay you that in February,
Well,
but I deposited the check right after the meeting. I always get the check the day of the meetings.
I understand, but that's why I was confused. The amounts are different.
Well, yeah, you got some of the delinquent fire tax money in addition,
Now I
okay?
understand. Okay.
So when you
Then
get
we're
your
good.
next check, it'll be
We're
what's
good.
collected
We're good.
and
I just saw
delinquent.
the amounts were different. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, okay. I
Yeah,
understand now. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, just one other thing I want to bring up, and I guess I have to make a motion or not, and that's in reference to the community center.
Wait a minute, did you vote on the motion to pay the bills?
Yes, we did. I did make a motion, he seconded it, all in favor? I said aye. So that's.
I have one more question on the bills. What were sign and caps for Daniel Creed? Sign and caps.
It was a 30 by 30 sign. I don't get a lot of explanations, and Carl wasn't around to tell me, so I'm not sure which sign that was. But the caps were what goes on top of the poles, I guess, from what
So
Kelly
the-
was
the
telling me.
street signs.
Yeah,
It's the
they're street
okay,
signs,
that's-
yeah.
That's all I was wondering.
I'm
I
not
did
sure what
go
the
by
sign was.
and protest posters and give hats with them.
Oh, I assume you don't know it's.
So again, the last thing on the list is, even though it is in our budget and we have proposed an amount for our budget for the community center, I'm going to make a motion that we make sure that they do get their check, because they had inquired about it actually while we were conducting this meeting. They'd asked me about it before. So I make a motion that we make sure that the community center does get their check. That
Okay.
has been budgeted in already.
Is that the full amount at once?
It's 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 something.
It was
Two even, was it? So 2,000.
And that's
And
for
that's
last year,
for-
this year.
That would be for,
We did not pay it last
Last
year, and we have not paid it this year.
yeah, that's why they're really bugging me for, like, where's, because
So it's for 2015. Right. I make the
14,
motion to pay.
14.
Oh, okay.
So you're paying 2 years then? Now you're gonna pay
We're
2
paying
years?
2014.
We're paying-
Right.
We're paying
We're
2014.
not paying
Just
2015.
paying
Right.
now for
2014.
2014.
Right.
Okay.
Can I get a second? Okay, got a second on that, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so, anything else? Otherwise, we will adjourn. I'm sorry. You all set?